if I am removed as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, there will be chaos. There will be anarchy. In fact, Nigeria will turn upside down. The civil war will be child's play compared to what will happen. This is coming from no other than the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He said this not locally, not nationally, he said it internationally. I mean, he said it to those who are not Nigerians, and he's saying it to whoever to listen, whoever cares to listen, he's saying it to them. And this has created mixed reactions. There are people who are saying, why should a president utter such statements? Are you saying that the Constitution, are you saying that the rule of law does not matter? This is still about the elections. And you know that opposition party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, and also Peter Obi, Labour Party, went to the courts. At the moment, Labour Party is still pushing and gunning for clarity. They are requesting the umpire, INEC, to provide the pathway to show to them how Bola Ahmed Tinubu ended up becoming the president, or how Bola Ahmed Tinubu won the elections. This is the query, and the onus is on INEC to provide every of this. But till date, INEC has been unable to provide every detail. At the beginning, INEC said that they would be conducting this election as transparent as possible, and that the votes will be electronically transmitted. And according to INEC, and according to the information we heard, they said they observed and they suffered brute attack to their database, and they decided not to in any way transmit any of this electronically. And several videos came forward, and one of them is that of Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi in Kanda, where certain individuals in diaspora, predominantly from the part of Peter Obi, from the southeast of Nigeria, who were talking about how they can go into the database, how they can bypass, how they can brute attack, and all of that. And Peter Obi was there, although he did not say anything. And this, to a lot of people, looked like he's assenting to it, like he's saying yes, because Peter Obi did not say, no, that is not what we should do. It is not right. He didn't say any of that. He just kept quiet and kept turning around, bowing his head without uttering anything. And this was one of those, videos that APC and other people who are against Peter Obi leaned upon. As it is right now, Peter Obi is still in court, but the utterance of Bola Ahmed Tinubu to a lot of people indicates or showed that he did not win the elections, and is threatening Nigeria, threatening the peace of Nigeria, saying, if I am taken out, if the court rules against me, there will be chaos in Nigeria. I want you to listen from the beginning to the end of this video, as you'll be hearing some very deep things. Like and share this video, subscribe to this channel if you have not done so, turn on the notification bell, it's very important. Use the thanks button to encourage us to do more. Yes, very important. Let us get right into this one.
Trailing the submission by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu requesting the election tribunal to dismiss the petition seeking to nullify his election on the grounds that he did not secure 25% of lawful votes cast in the Federal Capital Territory. The president, in his final written address against the two petitions filed by the candidates of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, and his counterpart of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, warned that nullifying the February 25th elections on the grounds that he did not secure 25% of the lawful votes cast in the Federal Capital Territory could lead to absurdity, chaos, anarchy, and alteration of the very intention of the legislature. Tinubu also stated that the two petitions seeking the nullification of his victory are not familiar with the country's electoral laws. Rufai, I'm coming to you, but let me take Carlos' tweet, because this is actually the bone of contention, because as you recall, our sister publication This Day put out a tweet, with that statement, and it's garnered more than 2.5 million comments. Well, Carlo wrote The president of the largest economy in Africa is telling foreign investors that if the courts, in a legal ruling in his own nation, remove him from office because he failed to meet the conditions set by his nation to become president, there will be anarchy and chaos. In essence, if he is allowed to break the law and remain in office in contravention of the legal rules of his nation against the oath of office he took, there will be no chaos and anarchy. Over to you, Rufai. I'll take, people became lawyers on Twitter yesterday, giving their own different interpretation. Dr. Bati, I heard your interpretation this morning. Rufai.
For me, it is the court, the Presidential Election Tribunal, that will rule on the interpretation of the 25%.
Yes.
Whatever they come out with, for or against, I don't think interpretation of the laws of the country will cause any anarchy.
Absolutely
not. Fanning the embers and everything. I know that statement was from the depositions of his lawyer, President Tinubu's lawyer, Wole Olanipekun, because they are having their final depositions in before they make a judgment on it. It is for him to make his case. You can say he was making his case while he was arguing, but it is the court that will rule, and whatever the court rule, there's not going to be anarchy. I've heard a lot of people argue and said, oh, yes, the court of public opinion and all of that, it reads the body and temperature of the nation. The law is the law. If it rules for or against, the law will reign supreme. And it's not happened before, blah, 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 blah. Those are just conversations. Because it is still the courts that will rule. All we can call on the judiciary to do is to stand tall. Across board. Yes, opinions are divided for and against and all of that. But we need to be able to build a country where the rule of law will stand tall. Because we don't do it for ourselves. We also do it for the way other countries see us.
Now, that is what they call legit statement. Of course, everyone has their opinion, and of course, you have right to your opinion and all of that. But that is the truth. That is the truth. The court has the power, the license to rule in or against, rule for or against. That's just what it is, and there is nothing more. Bola Ahmed Tinubu's counsel, according to what you heard, probably they said to the judge or to the tribunal, you know what, it has never happened in Nigeria before. Should we do this, there will be anarchy, there will be imbalance. A lot of people will not want to respect it and all of that. No, that's lawlessness. That's lawlessness. If evidences point to, if evidences show that Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not win the elections, of course, we know that 25% of Federal Capital Territory is the bone of contention right now. But as it is, does it really matter? What does the Constitution say about all of this? This, I believe, is what a lot of people are worried about. They want to know, what does the Constitution say? Or should we revisit our Constitution, the laws as regards election? This election is more or less like a teacher. This is like a lesson, rather, like a lesson to a lot of policymakers to look into certain lacuna and deal with it so that we don't have repetition of the same. Let us proceed.
And when they see we have a weak judiciary system, what happens is that investors will not want to come. So the judiciary should also know that they are not only ruling based on the law now, they are also ruling based on what will become the outlook of Nigeria. So they will be the one to determine this 25%. We've never had a time where we've tested it. People can only make other inferences, like, they've cited a part of the Constitution that says, treat it as long as though it's this, it's that, and all of that. You can have all the legal jargons. But it is when the court rules, conjunctively or disjunctively, you can pick up the narrative. All we should now do is not to heat up the polity. Let us wait for the court to rule. And let's also forget, after the court rules, there's also a Supreme Court there.
Yes, absolutely.
After this judgment, let us remember the fact that Nigeria will continue to exist. And Nigeria will continue to grow. But the question is, how do we see ourselves after things like this? That's what matters the most.
Yes.
And in building a country, it is a collective work.
Right.
Albeit the British coupled this country together in 1914. They started the process in 1906 after coupling the Lagos colony and the Southern Protectorate. And 1914 they add the Northern Protectorate to it. You can say all of that. But the truth has to be said, Nigeria will continue to move.
Absolutely.
After this judgment, after the consequence of this judgment.
Pastor Okezie, who wrote, Tinubu got 25% in 29 out of the 36 states and FCT. Atiku got 25% in 21 out of the 36 states and FCT. Peter Obi got 25% in 17 out of the 36 states and FCT. Nigeria has 37 subnational entities, 36 states and FCT. Only President Bola Ahmed Tinubu met this constitutional requirement, 24 out of 36 states and FCT, and having the highest number of votes cast. He was declared winner and returned elected by the constitutional body, aka INEC. What is difficult to understand here? Dr. Abati.
Okay, a number of clarifications. I think people must refrain from reading headlines and from headlines jumping into conclusions. That it misleads a lot of people because you see a headline in the newspaper, you see chaos, you see anarchy, you just conclude and you start talking. Courts of law don't take their decisions on the basis of public opinion.
You're right.
Even if the judges themselves are members of citizens. They act on the basis of jurisdiction and the rule of law. And at the highest level, the Supreme Court has its own original jurisdiction. And the courts exist also as modulators, as stabilizing forces, even as they discharge their functions under the Constitution. That's number two. Number three is that, look, the principle in law is that you must hear the arguments from all parties to a matter. In this particular case, you have the PDP going to court with Waziri Atiku Abubakar. You have the Labour Party going to court with Mr. Peter Obi. And if we just collapse what they were asking for, they're saying that Section 134 2B must be read to mean the reference to the Federal Capital Territory means that whoever will become president must score 25% in the Federal Capital Territory. And that Tinubu, having not obtained up to 25%, is not qualified to be president. Now, he got 19% in the Federal Capital Territory. Two, they said the matter in the U.S. District Court, that he had been indicted or convicted, whatever, and because of that, he should be disqualified. Three, one of the issues they raised was about Shettima, his running mate, who they said was a dual candidate, having been chosen as a senatorial candidate in his home state of Borno. Those were the basic three issues. So they gave their, they filed their defense, they called their witnesses, total of 14 in law. And the court gave counsel to Tinubu and the APC to submit their written address within 10 days. And that's precisely what, Wole Olanipekun, who is lead counsel to the APC and Tinubu group, did. And he just took all those issues raised by, the two major, the petitioners, one by one, and he debunked them. I tried to give a summary earlier on. He said, for example, Section 134(2)B, cannot be read disjunctively, that it must be read conjunctively. Because to do otherwise is to misinterpret and misrepresent the intention of the framers of the Constitution. A basic principle is, what is the intention of the lawmaker, the framers of the law? What do they intend to say? It's for the court to decide on that. And Olanipekun said, provided his own defense, citing Section 3.1, which lists 36 states, Section 299, which recognizes the Federal Capital Territory as if it is a 37th state, and also Section 66 of the Electoral Act. And he said, a community reading, that is what it is called, a community reading of all these provisions will prove the point that you cannot say because somebody lost in, didn't get 25% in FCT, then he cannot be president. And he provided precedents. The law, precedents, stare decisis is called. It's a major issue in law. Awolowo versus Shagari, Buhari's case, Abraham Adesanya versus, he gave all of that. Number two, he said the case of the petitioners is based on IREV and BVAS, electronic transmission. He said no, that can't stand, because in any case, the law, provides for manual transmission, and that you cannot say because of electronic transmission is an issue. Number three, he says the case that they are referring to in the US, that the evidence that is provided is inadmissible because it's not, documented within our own jurisdiction, yeah, and that in any case, nowhere in that ruling is the word fine used. So he took on all of these issues, and then concluded that the application, the petitions, amount to a crass abuse of court process.
Well, you have heard it all, different opinions. Of course, the rule of law stands, and he said there are certain precedent that has to be looked into. We are talking about rulings of the past that the court, that the judiciary, that judges, magistrate often will look or reference to. And in this case, it seems Bola Ahmed Tinubu will remain president of Nigeria, regardless of Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar's complaint at the tribunal. I don't know what you think about this one. I want you to like and share this video, subscribe to this channel if you have not done so. It's very important. What is the way forward? What do you think about the utterances of Bola Ahmed Tinubu saying should there be a cancellation, suspension, removal, whatever you want to call it, of his government due to the 25% that is being argued? Do you think Nigeria will remain peaceful, calm? Do you think things will function? Will there be tribal issues? Will the North join forces with the South-West to wage war against the Southeast, since it seems this is now a tribal, apart from politics? We know that there are certain individuals in the Southwest who also are not interested in Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but majority in the Southwest of Nigeria are interested in Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Some of them did a rethink, regardless of what Bola Ahmed Tinubu probably did or maybe offended them directly or indirectly. Some of them came up with some proverbs and they ended up saying they will not close their eyes and give their votes to Obi, that Obi will not in any way fulfill them. Why? Obi is not from their own tribe. There are also issues of religion in this. Many things worked against Peter Obi. Couple the audio leak and many other things worked against him. I do not know who won the election or who did not win, as I do not have the right and I do not have access to all of the votes on that particular day. Like and share this video once again. Turn on the notification bell. Tap on the subscription button if you have not done so. See you in the next update.